Well, Happy New Year, everyone. I am doing this video. Well, first I want to hope everybody's doing well. Hope that you had a good start of the new year so far, even though it's just starting. But this is a good 2020, good positive numbers, double numbers. So let's start it off good. Yes, for sure. So in this video, I want to share most of my experiences, I should say. Most, not all of them. There are a couple of experiences that are very personal to me, so I'm not going to share that because it was really personal. But I'm going to share talking about UFO experiences that I've had and ET experiences with extraterrestrials, or I like to call them my galactic family, friends, cousins. So I want to talk about that now. I've experienced them in the physical sense as well as in the light body experience. I've also experienced other phenomena that I will talk about as well at the end. So I hope this video, it might be long. I'm going to try to, I might have to break it up into two videos. I don't know, because I want to separate between UFO experiences. And when I say UFO, I mean unidentified. I'm not saying that what I saw was an alien, or not alien, I don't like that word, extraterrestrial or ET craft. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is what I saw was nothing that fits in conventional standards in our society. So I've seen a lot of different strange things. So I'll start out with the UFOs, and I had a lot of notes here so I don't forget. This is not all of my experiences, but this is some experiences I'm going to share are other experiences from other people as well. A couple of people in particular. I won't release names just because of privacy and identity, but they've given me the permission to share their story as well. I would love to hear feedback, and hopefully we can share similar stories. So some of these stories are really quick because some of the UFO experiences were very quick. They were very fast. They only lasted for maybe a couple of minutes. Sometimes it was faster than that. So I will, a lot of time when this was happening, I was within a past relationship I was in. So I will experience that. I'm not going to release any names, even though this person knows my experiences as well. But so this is from my perspective only, and then we'll go from there. So let's start. So I'll give you a little bit of background, kind of where I was, what I saw, whether it was day or night, that sort of thing. So the first experience that I want to share was a UFO. These are UFO experiences. These are unidentified. I'm not sure what they were. I lived in Madison, Wisconsin for I moved there at the end of 1995, 1995, and I lived there for, 2015, so quite a while. So anyway, so the first experience I had, I was in a car with my partner at the time, and we were driving down. If you're familiar with Madison, Wisconsin, it's situated downtown. Is a big part of downtown is the University of Wisconsin Madison, and so we were driving down University Avenue, which is a very busy street, and daylight time. This was during the daylight, and I saw this egg-shaped craft. It was literally, I was the passenger, so I was looking up and I could see it. It was just probably about maybe 20 feet, if that, above the treetops. That's the tallest tree. And it was moving. It was white, more of a cream colored, I guess. It was kind of like an egg. And it was moving, it was hovering, and it was following, and I was paying attention to it as it was kind of following the car. And it was staying right with the car, because we were driving probably about 40 miles an hour or so. And I was looking up and I'm like, wow. And I had experienced other craft before that, and all my life I've had very interesting experiences. But I was looking up and I was trying to connect with whatever was controlling that, or whatever was whoever or whatever was in there. And I felt a very strong energy. I got dizziness and lightheaded. So it definitely was picking up an energy from this. Again, I don't know who they were. I don't know who they. I can tell you who I think they were, but I'll go on that later. Because I'll be talking about the ETs and that. So it followed us quite a ways, actually, probably at least a mile or 2 miles. And then I said, oh my gosh, turn over into a side street, because I wanted to get a better shot. And I was trying to, I wish I had photos of it, but I actually don't, because it was hard, because it was like kind of behind the trees a little bit, and then it would come up. And then we pulled over, and this was big. I mean, this was up there. This was probably several feet tall. It was probably at least 8 feet tall, and I guess maybe 5 feet wide, something like that. Maybe bigger than that, because it was up there a ways. And pulled over in a side street, and then it just went, disappeared. I mean, it was gone, just like that, just like that. So that was one experience. Again, I don't know what it was, but I'm just going to call it a UFO because it's unidentified. So the second thing was I was with my partner at the time. We were in Madison, Wisconsin, and this was daylight again, and we were driving slowly, and many people are familiar with chemtrails or contrails, but most of the time we see a lot of chemtrails. A lot of people watching these videos probably understand what that is. So we were, and you could see this chemtrail up there, and I noticed something. It was during sunset, and I noticed like something. I was a passenger again, and I noticed the sun, something up there was catching the sun's light, and it was flashing. And so I looked, and actually I had a pair of binoculars in the car. I have kept that because I like to used to go out in nature and look at birds and things like that. And so I look, and I could see like a saucer-shaped craft, and it was going kind of zigzagging in and out of this trail of chemtrail, whatever you want to call it, chemtrail, and it was zigzagging out of it, and we both could see it. So it was something that we both could see. And we watched this for several minutes doing that, and it was, I don't know what it was doing, but it was dissolving, breaking up the chemtrail or whatever, and then it just shot up. It was gone, just like that. So again, UFO, I'm going to call it. I tried to connect with. I always try to connect with when I get things like that, because I do channel, I do communicate with other beings, I do communicate with spirits, with souls, so I try to always communicate. But it was like a metallic looking craft. That's about all I can give you. So that's another example. Here's one that's actually I'm only sharing this with the person that experienced this, and I'm not going to name any names, but this person that I know was going to work early in the morning, and he noticed he was driving. It was dark. It was probably early in the morning. He would drive through the countryside, and he said he got to a stop sign, and he noticed this orange ball of light in the sky. And actually, I do have photographs of that. And it was just hovering up there. And I don't know how far, because I couldn't quite tell how far it was. But it was like an orange light, beam of light. And it was kind of hovering up there. Probably, I don't even know how big it was or that. But I do have photographs of that. That I do have. So that I could say was unidentified. Don't know what that was. It wasn't any helicopter. That he said there was no sound. It was not a plane because it was just hovering there. So there would be another example of a UFO experience. All right. Okay. So the other thing I have experienced, and this is kind of goes into other. Well, I'll go into other things. I'm trying to think here what I want to cover. Oh, another experience. My mom and I were coming home from. I was driving her home from Madison because I was living in Madison, Wisconsin yet, and she had visited for a few days, and so we were driving back home at night, and we could see like these lights. How do I say them? They look like light balls of light up in the sky, and they were doing all kinds of weird movements. And pretty much the entire trip up, it was a 4-hour trip to Michigan here, and we experienced all kinds of weird things. Seeing these lights moving, kind of following. And at first I thought they were, like a plane or that, but we had actually stopped and tried to listen once we got into the countryside, and nothing. Couldn't hear anything. So, but they were moving kind of weird, not like a plane would move or a, helicopter or whatever. So, I just mark it up as a UFO experience. And so that was definitely interesting, exciting, because when you see these things, it's very exciting, but yeah, enjoy these moments I get. Okay, so the other thing I want to talk about is the couple other experiences. These are different. These kind of fit into other phenomena. I'm trying to see. Oh yeah. So these are other phenomenon, and then I'll go into the ET experiences. So the other phenomenon, is the what do I want to say? What they look like? Okay, I was in Madison, Wisconsin, and actually pretty much anywhere I lived, I always experienced orbs. Many people have seen orbs of light. I've seen reddish colored, orange colored, bright light. I've seen flashes. I've seen one time I'm in Michigan right now. One time I saw a big orb. It probably was about this big, round. It just kind of went, I just saw it. I could see it in front of me, kind of like this angle, and it just went, and it just disappeared. Don't know what that was. I tried to pick up any communication there. I didn't get anything. I've seen orbs, and a lot of times orbs are consciousness of, they could be souls, it could be other beings, use their consciousness to come in through these orbs to observe, to watch. But I've seen orbs kind of float through the house. I've caught them on camera. And I'll try to, I don't know if I can upload photos of what I've seen, but I will try. And I'm happy to share some, because I do have some experience, some interesting. But I've seen like little orange ones, red ones, kind of floating through the house, through my apartments. I've had that happen. Happens all the time, actually. I love these experiences. I'm very grateful. And I'm sure many of you have had these experiences or have had some of these experiences. So I love to share these events, because I think it's important to share. So the other thing I've had, one time I was in a Madison living, Wisconsin, and we had a lofted apartment. And I was by myself home, and I was sitting up on the loft reading a book. And all of a sudden I could see, like, you're reading my book, and I could see the sparkly lights and stuff. And I looked up and I saw this big, it was probably this big round. It was a big circular, but it was not a perfect circle. But it consisted of a lot of little sparkly orb lights, and it had like it's so hard to describe, a glittery, smoky effect to it. And I just stared at this and I didn't quite know what this was. It was really, really strange. I've never seen anything like this before, but it was just a big conglomeration of orbs and smoky color, and it just stayed there for a couple minutes. And of course, immediately think, oh, grab my phone, take the photo. Well, obviously, it seems like it happens many times when you don't have your phone or a camera. I know what I saw, so I know it's real. I guess these are my perspectives. Like I said, my experiences. If you don't believe it, that's okay. You don't have to. I'm not expecting people to believe it all, but this is what I've experienced. And so this conglomeration, whatever it was, kind of just hovered away, and then it just kind of floated down the stairwell, probably about 3 feet off the ground, just kind of floated down the stairwell from the loft, and then it went right out. It was gone. Don't have no clue what that was. I couldn't pick up any communication. Again, I think it's more an observance of spirit, soul, or it could be other beings also. And I'm getting more toward other beings only because typically when spirit comes through, they come through communication through me. I've seen them figures as well, souls, very detailed souls. So I've seen many different, spirits come through as well. Some that look very physical. I had that very interesting experience. I'll share it real quick. This was interesting, and I might have not shared this before, but I was in my apartment when I first moved to Madison. I was by myself, and it was sunset, but it was still light coming in the windows, and I was folding clothes on my bed, and the doorway was over here, and all of a sudden I could see a figure standing in the doorway, and I just immediately, I was by myself. I turned and I looked, and there was a man standing there. He had red and black flannel type long sleeve shirt on. He had like some kind of suspenders, some kind of heavy pant material. He had a black hair, very dark hair, black beard, Caucasian, and I just stood there, and I was talking to him because I first really thought he was a real living person because it looked very physical, just like you and I would look. And I said, "Who are you? What do you want?" And he just looked at me, didn't say anything. And then he just, boom, disappeared. So I've had that before. So I know when spirits come through, they will come through depending on how much they want to get your attention, that they are known to appear depending how strong they want to get your attention. So anyway, okay, I had to adjust the lighting because it's starting to get dark outside, so I wanted to adjust the lighting a little bit better. Apologize. I hope these videos come through okay. I try to be as real as I can. Just try to not overdo things. Just be me. Just share my. My purpose here is just to try to connect with people, to try and get. Hopefully that others can resonate with this. Hopefully others can share their experiences as well. I am going to have to do another video, which I will try to do tomorrow and upload, because I know it's already at 20 minutes and I got several ET experiences that I want to share, some in very, very lengthy, some in very, very detailed, because some of them consisted of a couple hour length, and I want to make sure to try and get as much detail in it as I can, and other people's experiences too. So I'll wrap it up here with a couple other things that happened to me. One was when I was living in Madison again, and it was more toward sunset, but it was the sun you could still see out. And I was sitting in I guess I had like a sunroom, in the apartment, and the apartment faced the parking lot. And there were two women in the parking lot that were talking, and no big deal. And all of a sudden I could see this sphere-looking, metallic type looking thing floating over the parking lot. And this was probably the apartments were what, 3 stories high, so it was just above that, and you could see it, and it was probably about this big as the sphere, so it was pretty apparent. And it had metal, and it had different it's very metallic looking. It had little round things in them, like around it. I don't know if they look like cameras or quite what it was. There were no lights on it, but it was just hovering, and it just slowly floated across above the parking lot. And the two women weren't even looking at all. And I was just shocked because I have never seen something like that before. There was nobody else around. I watched it go over the parking lot, and then it just was gone. I don't know what that was. If anybody can tell me. It looked more of like something was observing. I don't know. It didn't look like any, maybe it was, I don't think it was military or anything like that. I have no idea what it was, honestly. So if anybody else has had experienced that, please share. I would love to know what your thoughts are on that, because I find that fascinating. I don't know. I've seen that videos on YouTube, other videos of people seeing things like that. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what that is. I don't know. More of it looked like something was observing, taking photos, whatever. The other thing I want to share is, let's see, what else? One other thing was my father, and I have this photo somewhere. I will find this photo. We did take a photo of this. So sometimes I like to take photographs of my phone with my phone, camera phone, which takes pretty good photos. And sometimes I get orbs and things in that. So my dad was laying on the ground in the living room, and I had taken a photo kind of above, but you could see him laying down reading. I think he was reading a paper or something. And I looked at the photo. There was this purple smoke. You couldn't see it with the naked eye, but you could see it in the camera. There was this purple smoke over him, all around him. Very weird, very interesting. And it wasn't a light reflection because it was smoke. It was like smoky colored. It looked like a purple violet, like those, what is that? Those, when they do those, what are those? Those powdered chalky smoke, they do those events where they throw all the smoke. That's what it looked like, but it was like all hovered over him. So I do have a photo of that too. But that was another weird thing. I've seen that a couple of times in photographs, and I don't know what that was. If it was just some kind of energy, maybe a protection. So if you've experienced that too, definitely share. I'm curious about it, or what your thoughts are on that. Because, again, I don't pretend to know everything. I'm not going to pretend I know everything about what I see. Most of the UFO cases I can't really, or things I experience, I can't give you a definite. For those, for experiences I'm experiencing with extraterrestrial or galactic beings, I can definitely tell you what I've gotten because I have communication. I can telepathically communicate. So I can definitely share that perspective of who they are, why they're here for the most part, and what it is that I've experienced there. But as far as many of the UFOs or these orbs, it's more of I'm getting an observational thing. So that's just what I've experienced. But if you have a better idea or you have other things to share, please do. I'm going to wrap this video up and do another one on the ET experiences because there's many. Now these aren't all the, there's one other thing I do want to share. Yes, before I forget. This was interesting. This is a big thing. So the last experience I want to share is one night. This is actually this past year. It was in the summertime, probably more toward August, end of August. It was nighttime, and my bedroom, my parents' bedroom, you know, I was up here in Michigan, faces north, looking north. And probably about a mile away, mile from here, you could see it was lightning like crazy. It was like flash, flash, flash. The flashing was happening so quickly, it just seemed very unnatural. And it didn't look like lightning. There was no lightning streaks. It was just flash, 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 flash. And a couple of times there were so many flashes, it just lit up the whole sky. Many times, actually. And we literally could see some kind of craft, several of them, probably about 8 or 9 of them, moving around. And it looked like they were literally firing light plasma energy at each other. It was really, really bizarre. I've never seen anything like that before. I don't know if there was some kind of military thing. I think these were, I do believe they were extraterrestrial. I believe there are benevolent, very much so, but there's also malevolent ETs. So it looked like almost like literally a battle happening. And there was a lot of ground shaking too. It just didn't seem normal to me. I've never seen anything quite that extensive with lightning. And it, like I said, it didn't look like lightning at all. It was really, it was like flash, flash, and it was like several in that area. And then you could see when these flashes, ships moving around, and then the next flash they were gone. So there were definitely, you could see these lights from it. So it was very, very interesting. So that was pretty amazing experience. And then, like I said, there was it was like literally some like sonic booms happening. It was just the most bizarre thing. The house was shaking at a few points, and there was no rain or nothing like that happening. There were some clouds in the sky, but it wasn't like a thunderstorm. It very bizarre. So that was my last pretty big thing. But there are several other experiences I've had. I just, little things I'm not able to contain them all, because I've seen things as a kid growing up too. But some of it's kind of sketchy because you forget some of the details. So I'm just sharing the ones I really know of. But if you like this video, sorry for my kind of rambling and that's kind of how I just go for it. But I will do another video on the ET experiences and both the physical and also the light beings, which I say are higher dimensional beings. So please subscribe. I appreciate it. Please give me feedback. Please like the video if you like this video. Please share. Feel free. And I will be seeing you in the next video. Okay? Thank you very much.